Hey viewers, welcome back to the channel.
The last time we caught up, we were landing back in Adelaide after an amazing 5 nights in Alice Springs.
The next major stop on our tour was the incredible city of Melbourne, and between us and it lay 700 kilometres
Of the Grampians National Park and the Great Ocean Road.
This is what we got up to along the way.
Good morning. It is the 10th of October and we landed back in Adelaide yesterday evening and drove to Greg's house in the Adelaide Hills, where we're now this morning on our way to the Grampians. So all being well, we'll be in Melbourne tomorrow potentially.
We're going over the Murray River. It's about
Very wide.
100 kilometres east of Adelaide, 50k east of the Adelaide Hills.
Oh, those are nice houses over there. Whew.
We are about 120k out of the Adelaide Hills. We just stopped to stretch our legs. Come across one of these enormous grain silos. Something really lovely they do out here is put murals on them. Absolutely brilliant. 50-metre tall paintings, if not more. Stretch all the way around the side. It's about 120k or so more, and we will cross over the South Australia Victoria border, which I am very excited about. We'll be in Victoria. That's going to be really cool. That'll be 2 states that we've crossed. Welcome to Border Town. So this is the old Border Town police station. And I think they just built another building straight over the top of it in the 1930s, which is now a really cool little cafe. There's a shop the other side in the old police station. It's very cool. Not seen anything like this before. We've just come across a small reserve for kangaroos. And they have a number of white kangaroos in there as well. I've never seen a white kangaroo before. This little one's staying very close to mummy.
Welcome to Victoria.
Somewhat underwhelming. There's just a little sign on the side of the road. But we have just crossed from southern Australia into Victoria. So about 350k on from the Adelaide Hills, about 100k to go to the Grampians. Some of you might remember when we went to the Great Ocean Drive in Esperance, 40-kilometre loop. And one of the places that we stopped was a place called Pink Lake, which wasn't pink. Well, we've just stopped at the side of the road for a little bit of a rest. The last one wasn't pink, but this most definitely is. It's amazing. The colour is incredible. I've never seen anything like it. I hope it comes up well on the video for you all. It's amazing. That pink hue might come out a bit better further away and higher up. Really cool. We're about 40 kilometres away from our campsite this evening. Those in the distance there are the Grampians. It's a mountain range about 450 kilometres to the east of Adelaide.
First time we've actually got up close to some kangaroos. This little guy is a wallaby. Look how little his face is compared to his body. And it's just popped out to say hi.
This is the local wildlife, and it's red and blue and so pretty. Welcome to the Mackenzie Falls in the Grampians National Park. It's been raining a lot over the last few days, so it's absolutely raging. This guy's fearless and absolutely beautiful. Never seen bird that colour. Bye, mate. Look at that. He's blue. Two-tonal blue. The noises that these birds make are incredible. That bird is probably 100 metres from us, sitting up in the tree. And it's screaming.
You think it's a raptor?
We may be in Jurassic Park. This forest has clearly been on fire. So loud. There's charred trees and charred wood everywhere. But it's springing back. Where it's not just completely collapsed. For the first time in about 10 nights, we are eating dinner in the van. We have tucked into one of the best bottles of red I've ever had. Tomfoolery Barossa, son of a gun, Cabernet Sauvignon Shiraz. $30 a bottle. Get as much of it as you possibly can. We've got stir fry sprinkled with cashew nuts. We are in the lovely Grampians National Park, and we are absolutely exhausted. We've gained an hour and a half over the last day. We've driven 450 kilometres today, and we are quite tired. So it's now only 7:20, but I think we're both already feeling it. We've got a big day tomorrow. Great Ocean Road all the way into Melbourne. So we are going to settle down early. So from us and a lovely dinner.
Good night.
Good night. Morning. It's 7:45. The sun's shining. And we got a big day today. It's going to be 15 hours. But by the end of it, we're going to be in Melbourne. It's going to be a good day. Stop number 1 in the Grampians National Park today is the balconies lookout point. Look at that view. It looks like there's been flooding over there. That doesn't look like it's supposed to be there as a lake. There's been a lot of rain recently. But this is beautiful. We wanted to go to a town called Hall's Gap, which is the main tourist town here in the Grampians. But as you can probably imagine, driving on roads that are kind of nestled in these hills, the driving is pretty twisty-turny. And they were redoing the road that took us to Hall's Gap, and the detour would have meant going back on ourselves by about 10 kilometres, which around here is like 25 minutes. So we've stopped here instead at Bellevue Lake for breakfast. It's very pretty. The water level looks like it's at least a metre higher than it is normally supposed to be. Ducks are having a field day though. We're a bit lower now, about 350 metres altitude. I think this is a reservoir. So we're just stretching our legs and then we're going to head south to the coast and the Great Ocean Drive. Give us a wave, darling. Subtle but effective.
We found our way out of the Grampians and headed towards the coast to pick up the start of the Great Ocean Road.
We are in Warrnambool at the start of the Great Ocean Drive. We've just stopped here to stretch our legs. But this place is really funky. It is stuffed full of really good looking restaurants, really cool little eateries. And there's a sign that says that down here is a Malaysian style hawker, which makes sense given that the street is called Penang Alley. Penang is a sort of small city in Malaysia, which is infamous for its food. Laura and I once spent 4 days gorging ourselves. Big shout out to my dim sum guy and the hawker in Penang. I still think of you all the time and I love you very much and I miss you. So we have just turned on to the B100, which is the start of the 150 kilometre long Great Ocean Drive, which takes us from just to the east of Warrnambool, where we just were, into Geelong, which is a small city just outside of Melbourne. And there's the sign for the Great Ocean Road there.
The 250 kilometre Great Ocean Road is one of the most famous tourist attractions in Australia. It follows a combination of coastal roads and winding trails through forests and national parks to showcase some of the best scenery in Australia. Well, it's not the London Bridge we're used to, but it's a beautiful beach. There are places to stop along the way which take in some of the wonderful coastal scenery created by the impact of the ocean on the shoreline here over millions of years. The most famous is the 12 Apostles, pillars of rock stretching along the coast, although all but a few have now collapsed into the ocean.
True to my standard optimistic form, I may have overestimated how much ground we could cover in one day. I think we may have slightly overestimated how far we'd be able to drive today. The Great Ocean Road is not all that long, but it's twisty, turny, up, down, lumpy, bumpy, and you're constantly stopping to see things. So we're just coming into a place called Apollo Bay. You can see the ocean in front of us there. It's 20 to 7 already. I think the idea of making it to Melbourne today, which is for another 3 hours of driving, is ambitious, given that we've done about 800k, probably more in the last 2 days cumulatively. And I'm certainly pretty tired. I think Lauren's alright for a bit, but not 3 hours. So we might just get to Apollo Bay and reevaluate the plan. Look how pretty this is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning from Apollo Bay.
Things didn't quite go to plan yesterday. We did not make it to Melbourne. We fell about 3 hours short. It's hard to feel too bad about it when we're sitting having breakfast with this view. So we are about halfway to 2/3 of the way down the Great Ocean Drive, which is not all that far. It's only about 150k end to end. The problem is the average speed limit ends up being like 40 because it's just bendy, twisty, turny, up and down.
We did have quite a few roadworks.
There was roadworks everywhere. We stopped a lot to go and see stuff. So you actually only cover like 20 or 30 kilometers an hour. So having got up and actually got going at like 8:30 yesterday morning, we threw in the towel at about 6 o'clock last night. It would have been another 3.5 hours to get to Melbourne, and
cooked.
I couldn't safely drive anymore. Lauren could have done a bit more, but
We were just
not
hungry
much.
and happy
Yeah.
to just go to sleep.
So we tried to find a campsite. Everything seems to be completely booked up.
It's not even that. Everything was a minimum of a 2-night stay as
Or a
well.
minimum 2 night stay. I think this is a holiday place for people from Melbourne. So booking.com came to the rescue, and for $100 we found a really lovely hotel room. So we have come here to chill, but actually it's given us a bit more time to get into Melbourne. We're staying with a friend who sort of worked till 6 o'clock this evening, so there are some cool things that we're going to see along the way today. We're going to swing by Torquay, which is the home of Rip Curl and Quicksilver, the surf brands, and the Australian Surfing Museum. Just south of Geelong is the Australian National Cultural Centre, which I think will be really interesting for a little look. Then we'll go into Geelong itself, which is the second biggest city in Victoria. Should have a really nice waterfront, and then it'll be about an hour's chilled drive from Geelong into Melbourne, where we will hopefully be this evening, along with what the weather is calling a rain bomb, which is not great. So tomorrow might be a bit wet.
Name,
it does, yeah. Tomorrow's going to be torrential. They're warning people about floods. The day after doesn't seem so bad. And then the day after that, we're sailing for Tasmania. So I think what we're going to have to do is come back to Melbourne for a couple more days after Tasmania, because we'll never fit it all into 2 rain-soaked days. But from us and Apollo Bay and breakfast and coffee and this view, it's good morning and see you later. Just pulled over for a quick look at this view. It's great. Bit blowy, but really wonderful. So we have come from off in the distance down that way this morning, and we have followed those cliffs all the way around, all the way along, past this little township over here, to this area here called Aries Inlet, which is marked by this lighthouse. It's about another 50 kilometres to Geelong, roughly, which marks the end of the Great Ocean Drive. I think we're in surf country. Welcome to Torquay. You've got the Rip Curl headquarters and shop there, Billabong here, Hurley, Lizzie, Quicksilver's over there. And around the back of all this is the surfing museum. We're going to have some lunch quickly and then we're going to go. Welcome into the Australian National Surfing Museum.
On the corner.
I guess it's on theme to have a sculpture of the Silver Surfer from the Marvel universe in a surfing museum. Really well done. It's great detail in it. We have come off of, caught chocolate handed. We have come off of the Great Ocean Road. We have come to Geelong. The rain has also turned up, so we are on a lovely beachfront, but you can just get the water off the windscreen. A really lovely beachfront. Oh, there's a lovely doggo as well.
Oh, you're going to take a piss right there in front of us? Yeah.
Maybe. It's about an hour and 45 minutes to drive to Melbourne, I think, because we're in the rush hour. It's only about 75k. And also we don't really want to get out of the van anyway because it's yucky out. So we are going to drive into Melbourne. We are having a cup of tea and a biscuit. Many biscuits. But from us, I think that's probably the end of the Great Ocean Drive, which was...
It was beautiful today.
It was good today.
Yesterday was great as well, but it was very much inland in quite a lot of parts of it.
It was more like the Grampians.
Very slow.
Yeah, it's very
I mean,
slow
it was still beautiful, but it was less oceany
Yeah.
than we expected. But today was really, really special.
I'm not sure I would call it like the Great Ocean Drive. It's an ocean drive. It's perfectly nice. They make a tourist attraction out of absolutely anything here. So if there's like rocks in the sea, they'll name them something and then put a tourist
There are
sign
many,
up.
many creeks, aren't there?
Everything's a creek, everything's an inlet, everything's a gorge or a
Historical landmark.
yeah. It's just an old thing, right? It's maybe
Here's a lighthouse. Spend $10
yeah,
to
spend
walk up
dollars to come up it. No, thank you. Maybe we're just feeling a bit negative because the weather is doing us down slightly.
Stop talking about the weather.
I'm British. But from us and the second largest city in Victoria, good night.
Good night.
It's not all sunshine and bikinis, this travelling thing.
No.
We made our way out of Geelong and set off for Melbourne in what were truly some of the worst conditions I have ever driven in my entire life. But an hour of rain later, we finally made our way to the Yarra River and crossed over into the wonderful city of Melbourne.
It does feel like we're going over Manhattan Bridge or something.
We're back in New York.
Where's the heat?
Yeah. What a bridge! Is it Australian flag?
Are you excited?
This is redeeming things a bit. Look at that view, forget me. Look at that. That's fantastic.
It is fantastic. And the rain stopped.
The rain stopped for a moment. I don't feel like I'm about to crash. Oh yeah, I like that.
We've made it on the other side. Look at that.
Finally, an actual big city.
Next time on the Doms Down Under.
Lauren has found a place where she wants to eat everything. This is Ned Kelly's armour. That is Stormbreaker. This is what we came for. Melbourne. Brilliant. Look at this.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please feel free to hit like and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.